English translation, 307th contact. Sunday, 12th August 2001. 13:12 hours.
You are already here. I just gave Barbara some material that Bruni will need. Tomorrow we have to correct the Russian translations together with Johann Flaum. But be greeted and welcome. I did not know that two of you would come.
Greetings. Florina will not come with us because she wants to stay here and, if you allow, practice some time on your writing instrument. She has already done this several times and has already acquired some routine.
I am pleased to be able to greet you. Do you allow me to use your writing instrument for a few hours?
Of course. I have already told you several times that you need not ask me particularly about it, but that you can simply use the typewriter if you feel like it. What do you have to write that is so important? With your technology, it is easier for you to write down everything you want or need to.
That is right, but I find it very interesting and relaxing to be able to write down my thoughts and feelings with such a writing instrument. Somehow I find it romantic, and I also feel very connected to you when I sit in your chair and work with your writing instrument.
Aha, so you are also romantic.
Furthermore, I am also devoted to you in deep, friendly love.
So, and you do not have to turn red for that, girl. I will not either, because I also feel deep friendship love for you, as well as for everyone else I was allowed to meet. Of course you are also involved, Pa, because you are a very dear friend to me, whom I do not want to miss. But look here. These are some fax pages I received from Christian Freiner, and have to answer the questions they contain. Please read them through.
Ta reads. Then he turns to Florina and speaks to her while both study the fax pages. But I cannot understand a word, because they speak in their own language.
Florina will do this work for you and insert the necessary answers with your writing instrument according to the explanations I have given her, so you do not have to deal with it. Only the question concerning the Pa-Tach Li level and Arahat Athersata level, the Absolute Absolutum, and the Sohar must be answered by yourself. But you will only be able to do this when we are back, because now we will visit two of Mozart's last resting places and also do some relaxing walking. But maybe you should wear even sturdier shoes.
No, that will also work with those healing sandals. I have already gone from Wetzikon to the center several times with such old shoes.
That is about 20 kilometers.
Right, so I will not have any problems.
I feel the need to be able to discuss personal matters while we walk together that you should not mention in a conversation report. This should also apply to the place and circumstances of Mozart's resting place. However, what you can include in the discussion report is, on the one hand, a transcript that you wrote on the 16th of September 1950 with the title Gedanken Thoughts, as well as a conversation transcript of my father from the 3rd of February 1945, with which he explained your mission to you. To your inclusion of these two recordings, which I have found in my father's, Svath's legacy with other notes, etc. still existing, I will connect you in my flying apparatus to devices known to you, whereby you will be conscious of the recordings in a few moments.
Let it be as you wish. Then we can go now. Florina, I would like to thank you for your effort and promise to answer Christian's questions. Then goodbye. See you later.
I will have to go back in about 3 hours to do my duty again. Farewell and enjoy your free hours, which are really meager with you. Loving greetings from Zafanat Panage to you, but also from all the others who met you.
Thank you so much. Give them also my best regards and wishes. Then now, Salome.
Then we want to go now, my friend.
Okay, so be it.
Thoughts.
Life is good. This is what the message of creation conveys. And this message is love, as it is expressed in true form in all things. May the human being therefore open his or her eyes to it and see and experience the world and life so full of wonders, as both are actually full of them. May he or she perceive the world and the life with all their senses, thoughts and feelings, and not simply look at it unawares, so that they become aware of the real life again and live in the world of reality, in which true love is omnipresent and only has to be recognized and perceived. May humans therefore walk through the world and through life with open senses and cultivate happy relationships with their fellow human beings in order to give themselves and all others joy, love and peace as well as harmony, and have the realization that every day he or she has 1,000 reasons to be grateful to life and to live it in honor and dignity. While some appearances in the world and among human beings may sometimes give rise to critical tones and evoke ironic or unfriendly thoughts and feelings that give rise to momentary joylessness or lower morality, in the end, the guarantee remains that it is true happiness and a good coincidence, as well as an act of creational love, to have been born into this world and into this life. May the human being perceive his or her life and the world in peace and harmony, and also live in this peace and harmony as it corresponds to their inner concern. May they bear in mind, however, that they will only be able to accept themselves and their fellow human beings if they are in accord with themselves and practice tolerance not only towards themselves, but also towards their fellow human beings, and spread love, joy, peace, and harmony. For every human being, this is a life task besides the fulfillment of the meaning of life, which lies in the striving for something higher and more perfect. Only in the fulfillment of these values can the human being be at peace with themselves, with their life, and with the world. And the person who is pure with themselves lives in peace and radiates a pleasant attraction, which touches their fellow human beings. The human being, however, is not born in this purity, but has become it through their own efforts. In doing so, reasons of rationality as well as the need for peace, love and harmony or joy may have been originating factors, but perhaps also sadness or bitter experiences and insights, which led to the recognition that things could not go on in the old style, and that it was therefore not possible to continue to live past the life and reality of the world. Since time immemorial, the human being has endeavored to find his or her equals and to create a natural and harmonious and thus also peaceful and love-strengthened relationship with their environment, because it is in their nature to do so. From the very beginning, however, this presupposed the overcoming of one's own ego, shaping and harmonizing it correctly, and thus finding one's way to one's fellow human, getting to know and understand him or her, standing by their side and being helpful in all situations of life, both in good and bad times. This means, however, that true love must also be felt for him or her. Love that must not simply be built up emotionally, but through a true feeling. And only this true love creates reverence and dignity. Only in this form can humans live what they speak: true love, peace, freedom, and harmony. And only if the human being actually lives these values can he or she not be drawn to repetition, because these values are continually renewed and become greater goodness and authenticity. So may and must the human being always exemplify and therefore demonstrate what he or she demands of their fellow humans. May the human being also know about the fallibility of humans in general, and may he or she forgive this fallibility in true love, indulgence and understanding, both in respect of decency and morals, but also of ignorance, poverty or wealth, physical handicap, beauty or ugliness or other externalities, etc. May humankind only look inward at his or her fellow human beings and perceive their true nature, and not just look at it blindly and superficially. and he or she may also consider that the appearance of pure observation and contemplation is very often deceptive because there is no actual perception of the effectiveness. Thus, an unsophisticated one can be extremely sensitive, knowing, full of love and be wise, but the supposedly noble and worldly one can be a true devil in his or her thoughts and feelings and in their actions. Some humans recognize the truths of life and the world and live according to them. Thus they find inner calm, inner peace, inner freedom, as well as true love of feeling and harmony. Thus they find harmony with their fellow human, find balance and comfort in dealing with themselves and with their neighbor, and true love thus becomes their lasting validity and an indisputable value of life. And when a human being has once discovered and experienced the value of true love and adheres to it, they have gained an invaluable life content that cannot be surpassed by anything. Nothing can harass the human being any more in this love, even if the world were full of devils. Niederflachs, Bulach-Zayich, Saturday, 16th September 1950, 18 to 16 hours, Edward, 13 years old.
Here I found an explanation of my father's fath to you, which he explained to you on your birthday, the 3rd of February 1945, with the following words.
Saturday, the 3rd of February, 1945, 12:10 hours.
Eduard, listen very carefully to what I have to say. Not for nothing, but for certain reasons, the sequence of our encounters has come about. The cause of the justification goes back to provisions which lie very far in the past, and according to which, during the time of your present life, you are assigned to a self-determined task, as was repeatedly the case in your lineage of spiritual reincarnation in previous lives and in other personalities and bodies, in order to fulfill the mission of a proclaimer and bring peace, true love, freedom, and unity to all humanity, as well as open, unencrypted knowledge of spiritual concerns and creational law-based matters, as well as wisdom. Through your own destiny far preceding this time, you have come into being as a proclaimer of the truthful creational laws and recommendations, and thus as a prophet. But you will only take up and fulfill your actual mission when the time has come, namely with the date of 28th January 1975. Until then, you will be strictly learning in many countries of this world and with various teachers who have been in contact with me for some time or will be in the future. Like all truly great proclaimers and wise men who have taught on the earth since time immemorial, and who have brought to all humankind the teaching of the Spirit, peace, love, knowledge, harmony, and wisdom, as well as real freedom, you too were born as an inconspicuous man. And like all true heralds and wise men, you too will first have to learn a great deal before you take on and fulfill your task at your appointed time. However, you must bear in mind that you will have to endure a quite adventurous, often hardscrabble and hard life, which will increase from 1965 onwards in a form that will demand a great deal of strength from you in every respect. This will be attributed especially to your wife, whom you will meet and marry in the same year, but which is inevitable and will be closely connected to your mission. Therefore, the step of your marrying is necessary, because your real powers, which you need from this time on, will only be built up through this way, which you have to go. Become aware, however, that everything that encroaches upon you in this regard will be merciless and absolutely unavoidable, For only by passing and mastering this hard teaching can you unswervingly and without fickleness and without doubt, absolutely honestly, humbly and in real love and joy to your task and to your fellow human beings, fulfill your duty. But you will not be spared much suffering, slanderous accusations and hatred, which will often be brought by your wife. But these attacks, which will also be founded in attacks against your life, you will have to face powerfully and unswervingly, for only in this manner, when you master everything, will you be able to fulfill your mission. But you do not have to endure the worst machinations forever, because your wife will maliciously turn away from you when she finally realizes that you will unswervingly go your way and fulfill your task. Unfortunately, however, she will be so blinded by hatred that she will continue to slander you behind the scenes and carry out intrigues against you. But you will not have to measure yourself against it if you are didactic, as I enjoin you to be. For your age, you are already wise in a manner that old people are attracted to you, like to talk to you, and are amazed at your knowledge, which is already your own, which is why they often ask you for advice. Truthfully, your words contain a swinging wave that testifies to a great inner power and that helps people. By this you are able to remove vices and bad as well as unpeaceful things and ignorance from the world. Through this inner power, which also expresses your modesty and honesty as well as your love for human beings, a great trust is placed in you, which you have lived up to since our acquaintance and are constantly striving to never hurt or abuse. The value of your words and your virtues lies in the inspirational form with which you convey everything. When you talk with the humans, your words contain a humble and honest power of not simply being carelessly lost, but being thought about and seeking the real truth in their sense. This reflection on your words takes place in a meditative form, according to which action takes place. Your name is Edward Albert Meyer, and as your given name expresses in its value, you are a guardian of the treasure, which in this case refers to the treasure of the spiritual teaching which you will learn in all things and teach to the humans. But you will not be called by this name all your life, for on a certain date you will be given the name Billy in Tehran, in Persia, by which you will be known in a worldwide form. In addition, there will be the name Billy Edward Albert Meyer, which will result from the initial letters of all your names according to Billy Edward Albert Meyer. Nevertheless, you're only a simple person, and will remain such in honesty and modesty. You will not make a fuss about your person, but will put yourself in the background at the appropriate time, so as not to be regarded as something special and not to be admired or not to be worshipped. And you will do that very well, because the human beings of the earth are too anxious to create idols to whom they obediently and pathologically commit themselves, emulate them, and deny their own individuality. This must not be, and so you will do well to go your way of humility and honesty and being in the background, which is already your distinctive way. Work in silence and do not go public too much. Let others do this for you, for it will not happen to them that they will be courted and worshipped. Do your work and mission in written form, and stay in the background if possible. Only bring the teaching of the Spirit in direct oral form to the human beings where they will belong to a close group that will gather around you. But be for them also only like a mirror into which they can look and see only yourself as you are and as you give yourself to them, so that they may see that you too are only a human being of their kind, and not a higher being translated to them, which looks only at them. Nevertheless, be like a fire, and do not stay too far away from them with the warmth of your love, so that they may come to you at any time and feel your warmth, security, and love, as well as your peace, your freedom, equalizedness, and harmony. But do not approach them too closely with your knowledge and wisdom and with all your powers, so that they do not burn themselves. Therefore, do not use your powers of consciousness for official demonstrations, but use them in your group, which was formed in 1975 only as proof that the powers of the consciousness and of the Spirit can be used and thus also developed. Thus learn the right distance to the human being so that you do not get too close to them, but also do not stay too far away from them. You have come into this world to give, but not to take. Therefore, always take only what is rightfully yours, which you can consider your own merit, or what is given to you out of love, respect, and solidarity. Thus, never demand anything yourself if you do not do the corresponding work for it. Every work is worth its wage, but never demand more. But it will not be the case that you will be able to distribute your written work without remuneration, because this is impossible due to the system of the Earth human's money economy. But you should not pay attention to this, because time and your time-honored teaching of the Spirit will bring about that in the emerging group the truth of the teaching will be recognized, and accordingly also financial means will be made available with which your writings and books can be professionally produced and distributed at reasonable prices. However, the very beginning will be with you, so you should work and be economical to finance the beginning of your mission when your time is ripe. But already at the beginning of your mission, you will find modest help, which will expand quickly. But never demand anything, because you and your mission are not the same as the religions and the groups and circles that have sprung from them, as well as their leaders, preachers, and provosts. Always give everything you can give when the human beings are ready to receive, but never give more in the teaching, your knowledge, and your wisdom than what human beings are capable of understanding and coping with. The tool proves that they always want to know more than their understanding can cope with. So let it be said to you that you should always teach and reveal just as much knowledge and wisdom as the current state of the human's understanding demands. As the understanding and comprehension of the actual truth increases in relation to the subject matter of learning, then, according to the new understanding, the teaching can be expanded in its value and in its details. This, however, usually arises only at the time when a correspondingly precise question is raised. But always be aware that there will always be only a few who will really ask for the essential and the actual in relation to the essence of all that is spiritual and creational, for the sake of whose teaching you will fulfill your mission through your present personality in this life. You stand in this life to teach human beings the truth of all truth, so that the human beings may gain clarity and free themselves from the false teachings of religions and their outgrowths. Through the teaching of the Spirit, which you will teach and spread from 1975 onwards, the real truth and light shall come to the humans, so that the deepest desires for true love and freedom, for peace and harmony may be fulfilled. For the teaching of the Spirit, which from time immemorial has been the teaching of Nocedemian, Hanok, and all your former personalities, you shall, as it was in all past times, demand only the will to learn love, peace, freedom, harmony, joy, diligence, justice, and humanity, as well as humanity as a counter-gift, but not any material things through which you could attain wealth. For if you want to acquire such, then you shall create it through your handiwork, but not by enriching yourself through the teaching. It will probably be necessary for you to be able to make a living as well, which is why it must be through your own efforts that you have a safeguard through proper arrangements in relation to your work, which, however, must never be based on enrichment. Your work will be hard, and you must work very hard, both in terms of the mission itself and for the sake of your livelihood before the mission. In addition, your work will not be limited to just one activity, because in order to master everything you have to master, you will learn and perform many different activities. What you learn will be particularly important from 1977, when you will build a place of learning close to your mother's birthplace. So you will have a lot to do in your life, an unusual amount to do, and you will also learn and experience an unusual amount. But this is necessary so that you can fulfill your task. But this does not elevate you above other human beings, thus you are not their master with regard to the spiritual teachings, as no one can be master over you. You will probably be a leader of a group since 1975, but not in the form of a powerful person, ruler, or master, because only in this manner can humans move freely and be independent in their thoughts, feelings, and emotions, as well as in their personal work and action. You have come to teach unity and concord, but not humility, subservience and servitude, or bondage and fanaticism, but also not ambivalence and dualism or trinity like certain religions. Unity and concord, connected with true love as well as with peace, true freedom and harmony, are not political in nature, but values which can only be gained by insight and by the recognition of the real truth, without money and other wealth, without war, strife, hatred, violence, bombs, and weapons. You will create an inexhaustible source of knowledge, wisdom, love, freedom, peace, and harmony. A source from which all humans of all races and all faiths, all skin colors, and all social classes can refresh themselves. And what your desire is, what you want to bring to people, is unity, peace, concord, knowledge, wisdom, love, freedom, and harmony in deep truth, and in the realization that in the whole creational realm, in the whole universe, everything is one and connected with each other. But this oneness and connectedness with everything and everyone is the result of the power and immeasurable love of the creation, which selflessly gives everything and demands no reward for it. The greatest problem of the human being is his or her ignorance of the creation and its laws and recommendations. This problem is not only that of a single social class or a single religious denomination, but it is a problem of every single human being, a problem of all humankind. In this ignorance, humans are dependent on their illusions, wants and desires, on their addictions, on their vices, and on all the pleasures and material frippery from which neither the individual nor the whole of humanity is able to free itself. And through this ignorance, an uncertainty for the life spreads, whereby hatred, wars, murder, greed, jealousy, and revenge, as well as criminality of all kinds, develop. However, also enormous destructive and annihilating weapons, like the atom bombs, which are already abused in short time by the Americans to a deadly and annihilating work. If they are abused in this year on the 6th of August, they will destroy the Japanese city of Hiroshima by using nuclear weapons and claim hundreds of thousands of lives in order to repeat the same crime on the 9th of August also at the Japanese city of Nagasaki, which will cost another 100,000 lives. The teaching you will bring, the teaching of the Spirit, is meant to lead human beings on the path of truth, love, peace, freedom, and harmony. It is meant to transform humans and the world. And to bring this teaching, you have committed yourself and to life, as well as to the creation and the human beings. For this you will work hard and without ceasing in the perception of your whole responsibility. Through your knowledge and your wisdom, as well as through the power of your consciousness, your body, and through your handiwork, you will show an old new direction in love, peace, freedom, equalizedness, joy, and harmony, which can show progress in the whole thinking as well as in the feelings and in the actions of the human beings. It will be your true love to help humans with all your values of knowing and wisdom, who need your help and who want to accept your help. Therefore, always be open to them when they open themselves to you and to the spiritual teaching, because your goal must always be to teach and to help. Eduard, your task will be to awaken the human beings of the earth from their sleep of untruth and ignorance. You must teach the human beings that they must be ready for the revolution of the truth and for the fact of their duty to the creation and to fulfill its laws and recommendations. The observance of this duty is also tantamount to a revolution, for only a few possess it in such a manner that it is consciously fulfilled. This comprehensive revolution, however, is not based on politics and does not know any parties, because in its essence it is classified as real freedom, which, according to each individual human being, has the free choice of his or her thoughts and feelings as well as their work and their actions, so that each individual can decide freely whether they want to turn further to untruth and ignorance or to knowledge, wisdom, and true love, peace, well-being, and equalizedness and harmony. The teaching of the truth, that is to say, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the creational truth, shall be the way shower for every human being, so that everyone can follow it according to their own will, if they are willing to do so. The teaching shall become a movement which shall spread worldwide and bring peace, love, and freedom, as well as all other high values, to the human beings of this world. However, You must always be aware that evil powers, the envious, the slanderers, the deceivers, the liars, the thieves, and all sorts of other negative powers, which will also commit assassination attempts against you, will try to interfere with and destroy all your work and energy, and will not stop accusing you in court of evil things in order to destroy your mission. But always be confident, for if you are unswervingly and consciously committed to your mission, live your virtues, maintain your modesty and honesty, and preserve your place of true love within you, then all attacks of every kind will ultimately be for your benefit and success. Thus, it will come about that all that is plotted against you negatively, deceitfully, murderously, slanderously, lyingly, thievishly, and begrudgingly will steadily turn into progress and success for you and your mission. Thus, your group to be built up by you will grow as the core as well as the outer groups, which will take on worldwide forms. In this respect, the electronic and other technology will also be helpful to you, because in the near future, everything will develop so rapidly in this respect that the new will be outdated again within a few days. This will enable you to spread the teaching of the truth throughout the world, for the information will reach its destinations in a matter of seconds. It is therefore not necessary for you to defend yourself against the attacks directed against you, because all those who will take action against you in any negative form will only harm themselves. Always be neutral towards all attacks against yourself or your mission. Learn to control yourself in these things and always remain calm, because this is the best weapon and the best defense against any attack. You will already have to learn this at your young age, which is why events, situations, and things will come up to you that you will have to learn to master. You will have to endure a lot of pain, both through your thoughts and feelings and through your emotions, which you must bring under control. You will not be spared physical pain either, because in 1964 you will experience an event that will make you lose your left arm. But this will be an incentive for you for further hard teachings, which you will have to endure and cope with, but through which you will enable yourself to build, together with the supporters rallying around you, that place which you will call Simyase, Silver Star Center, and from where, with the help of those who will stand by you, you will start and spread your mission worldwide. My concern here is that you build up your powers and always use and control your energies in good measure, for they will be of enormous importance, as well as your ability to do your work, as well as your true love, your wisdom, and your high and far-reaching knowledge of spiritual and creational concerns, whereby I must confess that in this relationship you will surpass yourself, me, and all those who come after me, and maintain the contacts with you. But for certain reasons they will be more ignorant than I in this regard, because they too have much to learn, which is why you will also be their teacher, but which they must first recognize and understand. But this will take a long time. But then they will recognize who you really are, which abilities and which knowledge you possess, and which former personalities were unique to your spirit form. But it is not up to me to reveal this knowledge now, because this duty is assigned to a higher form than me, namely the Arahat Athasita level, which will teach you spiritually telepathically, while I can only pass on my knowledge to you linguistically and through my apparatuses. So practice spiritual telepathy too, in which I will also teach you, along with many other things. For the level Arahat Athasata can only communicate with you in this wise, but this will only be one-sided, so you will only receive in an instructive manner. In joining me, however, you will learn to communicate spiritually, telephatically, for I am just as powerful at this form as those of my people who will come into contact with you after me. This form of telepathy is also capable of bridging the infinite vastness of the universe without loss of time, while the simple form of telepathy reaches only 3 seconds of light, which is about 1 million kilometers. I would like to suggest to you that you are always brave and courageous, for only in this manner will it be possible for the members of your group to support you courageously and bravely in due time. For your courage and bravery will be transferred to them, as well as many other of your values. Unfortunately, it will not be possible to avoid, as my research has shown, that various traitors will join your group, who during their presence and even after their departure will want to harm you maliciously and vengefully in order to destroy you and your mission. Unfortunately, with a few exceptions, there will be members who will join the group through earlier provisions. I will give you the names of all these and all other group members at a later date. But always be aware that if you are firmly determined, courageous and brave, honest, humble, virtuous, knowing, wise, equal, powerful, and energetic, steadfast in your manner and your true love, perseverance, aware of your responsibility to yourself, to life and to the human beings, and to all nature and life forms, then no attacks by humans can harm you, no matter what they may be. You will defy fire, water, and storm, and thereby visibly prove the teaching of the truth to your fellow human beings, but never use your powers of the consciousness and of the spirit to make a profit or to show yourself off. For if you will use these powers, be that said to you another time, then they should and may only be for teaching purposes or to help the human beings. And if you are asked to do such, do not do it, for otherwise you would create dangers that would endanger your work and mission. Remember that already now you can generate great power through your consciousness and do things that are impossible for other human beings. But even if you can do them, do not show them off unless you are able to give an instruction or use them for your own joy or relief. More than ever, the coming time will develop into an epoch of great destruction and annihilation. It will begin with the criminal actions of the Americans when they bring total annihilation and destruction and hundreds of thousands of deaths in Hiroshima and Nagasaki by dropping atomic bombs, which will be in a short time, as I have already explained to you. In the time to come, the Earth human degrades himself or herself much more than they have done since time immemorial in war and through the murderous religions and their sects, thereby enslaving themselves, especially through the religions to which they have become fanatically in bondage and for which no human life is too valuable for them not to murder and exploit it, as is also the case through the rulers who know no scruples whatsoever. However, you have come, in order to make the hard truth clear to all human beings with harsh, open, undiplomatic, honest words free of empty phrases, and to instruct them in order that they are able to find the right way to a higher level. But for this, it is necessary that you also deal with the religions and sects and learn what they are in their actual worthlessness. So it will be that you will enter into them and learn, but that in your knowledge and in your thoughts and feelings you do not belong to any religion or sect, but that you orient yourself solely to the teaching of the truth. The teaching of the truth should lead in the further future to the elevation of the whole earthly humankind, namely by the fact that each individual human being consciously recognizes their higher self within themselves, their creational spirit and its traits, and bring the spiritual values to bear also in his or her outer being, in his personality. But let it be said to you that you must learn and practice tolerance in order not to be biased or unjust with regard to the religious faith of humans. Only this enables you to teach people truthfulness so that they can gradually free themselves from their dependence on lower powers. You must understand this. And if you understand this, then you will also live in simplicity, modesty, honesty, and love. This enables you to carry the message of your mission and thus the teaching of the truth out into the world. And this should, one day in the distant future, cause fear to be removed from the world and all human beings to become without anxiety and fearless. Also in connection with the fact that one day the use of weapons for warlike and murderous purposes, etc., will be discontinued and they will only be used for work and self-defense purposes. You must fulfill your task, and for this, it is also necessary that you learn in word and writing the language by which you will spread the teaching of the truth. It is the language which you learn in school and which you already master to good measure, the German language. For it is this language that is most valuable on the earth and offers the finest possibilities to offer the teaching of the truth in finely nuanced form. So I will also teach you in this language myself so that you may make it your own in an unusually large number of values and learn to master it to the best of your ability. Our linguists who know and master the German language in all its details much better than all earthly linguists will also be helpful to you through me. Thus you will learn a good and skillful, expressive and very extensive language for which many will envy you. You will also develop your own unmistakable and clear style of writing, with which you will produce all your writings and books, as well as telepathic and apparatus telepathic and spiritual telepathic transmissions. You will reproduce your records faithfully and without any falsifications or additions of your own, but according to your style of words and writing, so that it is unmistakable that only you will be the one to whom the messages, teaching parts, and the subsequent conversations will be transmitted. This will be a necessity because many deceivers, thieves, charlatans, delusionists, lunatics, and profit-seekers will steal your material, falsify it, and make profit with it. It will also unfortunately be the case that many will shamefully misuse the names of your encounter persons of extraterrestrial origin as well as the names of the pure spirit levels and claim that it is not you who would have the meetings with us from the Pleiadian systems, but them or that they would have these meetings at the same time with you, which you and my successors will later call contacts and contact conversations. When the time comes that these lying and slanderous events are true, when your material is stolen and many impostors and frauds come forward worldwide regarding alleged encounters with me and my successors, and they will appear with false and fraudulent messages and even claim the impossibility for themselves that they are in telepathic connection with me or my successors, then these false contact persons, as you will then call them, will already be recognizable by the fact that they claim that their physical or telepathic encounters and connections exist with beings from the Pleiadian system of this space-time structure, which, however, is supposed to be me and my successors. But we do not belong to this space-time structure, and thus also not to this Pleiades system, which is still very young in its existence and has little more than 60 million years, is absolutely uninhabited and uninhabitable in every respect. If we disregard thermobacterial life, which will pass away again in a few millions of years, without higher life of any form ever being able to arise there, consequently, spiritual beings will never exist on these Pleiades. And in order to expose the future deceivers, my successors, and you will not name our origin after our own linguistic term Pleiades, but after the earthly human term Pleiades, according to which the deceivers will then use this term, thereby exposing themselves to deceit and lies as well as slander. When this then happens in a greater measure, then you, as well as my followers, will reveal the truth and correct everything. The following for my person, you should already know this, will be from 1953, a young woman from the Dal universe, where you will certainly be taken once. The name of the person you meet will be Asket. She is a member of one of our peoples who have split off, some of whom are still at home in the Lyra and Vega systems, but shifted to this space-time level by a fraction of a second, as well as our space-time structure, in which our Pleiadian systems exist. The encounter with Asket and you will last 11 years, as well as the one between you and me. After that, you will be left on your own for 11 years, and will have to learn a lot on your own initiative, after which, in 1975, you will be reunited with my granddaughter, Simyase, and my son, Ta. The two of them will then be your future companions on an ongoing basis, along with others. Simyase is a prospective Ishrish and Ptah an Ishwish. Also a man, an aspiring Ishwish named Quetzal, will be of importance to you, as will many others. Their information concerning your person and origin of your spiritual form will not be complete due to their own need to learn. However, consequently, they will have to laboriously acquire this information, through which it cannot be ruled out that they will often make mistakes that they will have to try to correct. And in this relationship, you will have to be the intervening and helpful power to also teach them. This teaching will, however, be further extended once it becomes known what importance your person has, and that this importance also leads back to all your former personalities of former lives. But you must not talk about it until then, and you must keep your secret, which I will explain to you later, until the time has come when my successors have revealed the secret. You shall also be silent about all things to your group members until the time is ripe to reveal new knowledge or secrets, no matter to which things everything refers. With regard to your mission and the construction of the center's location, which will undoubtedly be in Hinterschmidruti in Turstal, you know the place, since you have already been there with father and mother, as well as with regard to the group members and various other things. Unfortunately, not everything will go according to plan. But you must not reveal this to my successors or to your group members, with whom you will found a statutory association in 1978 after a first group formation in 1975. I tell you here and now that you will reach your goal and fulfill your mission with certainty. Much anger and many troubles, misery and precipitation will arise, however, what you should already know now. As my vision of the future has shown, however, you will use all your strength and energy as well as your ability and knowledge as well as your love, peaceableness and wisdom, but also all your experiences that you have collected, learned, and built up in yourself in many countries up to that point. However, your silence is necessary, for if the knowledge of all the troubles, the hardship, the anger, the fallout and misunderstandings, as well as concerning the betrayal in your own group's ranks were known to my successors and to your group members, then a sinking of courage would be the consequence, whereby everything would be destroyed. The encounters between you and my successors would also be endangered and would be broken off, for which the danger would otherwise already exist due to all the unpleasantness that will inevitably appear. However, it will be in your strength, love, energy, and wisdom and discernment that you will handle everything in the right measure and lead everything to the goal whereby especially the teaching of the truth will help you immeasurably much. But it is precisely in this regard that I must draw your attention to the fact that you must clearly explain to your group members, as well as to all human beings who strive for the teaching, that the teaching of the Spirit is not a teaching of salvation, and that you and we do not advocate any such teaching, because every person creates his or her salvation for themselves through their thoughts and feelings, through their knowledge, through their attitude and their wisdom and love, but also through their peace and freedom and well-being within themselves. This is also the result of all his or her work and every action, as well as the manner of which and responsibility he or she takes towards their duties and the fulfillment of their duties, and the way he or she lives. For all your future and for all the success of your works, your task, works, and mission, you must build great trust and always be aware that you will create everything and never fail. Your knowledge, your wisdom, your true love, your honesty, openness, and peaceableness, as well as your inner freedom and your powers of consciousness and your energies must become so powerful that there is never any doubt in you that something could fail you. All these values, which include virtues and many other excellences, must become so massive, mightful, and powerful in you that they are superior to all hostilities, and these are put to flight simply by commanding them to flee so that they cannot gain a foothold in you. But to walk in healthy modesty and not to let yourself be seduced is one of the most important recommendations that you must never break. Therefore, never use your powers and energies to do things that are not right. If you may often be threatened in your life, never use all your high values against the body and life of your attackers, but always use them only to defend yourself. And only if you cultivate your thoughts and feelings as well as your work and your actions in every relationship of right, and also use your great powers of consciousness in this form, will you be able to have true trust in yourself and not let anything shake it. You must be a true man and live for life, for your mission and for your evolution, as well as for your health and well-being, which is why you must always exercise the necessary control over yourself in every respect. Never let yourself be put into a rage, but scream and shout when the situation requires it, but never lose your control over yourself, and do so in such a manner that no negative feelings affect you. Therefore, gain a trust and the certainty that you will always maintain control. But do not give yourself anything other than your nature, for humans should see and recognize that you are a human being like themselves. This means, however, that you too are not without mistakes and must learn in every respect. Nevertheless, you should have confidence in yourself until your last breath. Never let yourself be influenced by false teachings, not by jugglery and not by magic tricks, but learn to recognize their falsehoods, for which I will teach you, so that you may see through and recognize deceptions of this kind. Also fortune-telling, exorcism, clairvoyance, spiritual healing in deceitful wise will be brought to you along with many other similar things, as well as automatic writing and supposed canalization, which will be called channeling in the coming time. Their rule is only lies and deception, delusion, false doctrine, illness, and profiteering, which is why you should also protect yourself from them, as well as from the false doctrines and machinations of the religions and the sects which have arisen from them and which will continue to arise from them in the manner that murders and mass murders will arise from them in the time to come. Protect yourself from all these things every moment of your life, for lies, deceit, slander, and untruth will be more rampant in the time to come than ever before. In particular, this will be the case when the turn of the millennium puts the human beings in excitement and confusion. That, Edward, are the words I had to speak to you today, and the explanations I had to give you. Further explanations will follow at a later date. Until then, however, continue to learn diligently and be always well-disposed. If you need my help with learning, call me and I will help you with advice and teaching. Always remember all my words, no matter how many years you may live, and keep to my instructions, even if I am no longer, and you have grown in everything in your years and become very knowledgeable and wise, and become the man and proclaimer who has more knowledge of the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, and the teaching of the laws of creation than any other human in your and my world. And this is a truth that makes me appear to you as your disciple, or would make me appear to you if I could still experience the coming time of your knowledge and wisdom. However, this will not be granted to me. But nevertheless, there is great joy in me that I may still teach you now before you have become more knowledgeable and wiser than I could become in my present life with my present personality.
So here we are again, and Florina is already gone. If you will allow me, I would like to express my deepest thanks to you for allowing me to see Mozart's grave. It is really not as far away from Vienna as I have assumed in your words. I would also like to thank you for the beautiful walk. The fact that I am only doing this now is because I have been so busy with my thoughts and feelings so far, and therefore have not spoken anything, because everything was so strange and left a profound impression.
I understand that very well. But you are not obliged to give thanks, because the conversation with you and your advice raise me to the duty and need of thanks.
You start again, but let us leave it at that. Here I have another question that has recently arisen with us. According to your instructions, the textbooks must always contain the original German text for translations into other languages. But this, as I was told at the time, was only necessary for the actual teaching books. Now the question arose in our group as to whether this clause should not also be extended to small scripts and articles, etc., in relation to the original German text.
We also thought about this earlier, but found that we should leave this further burden to you and your group members for evaluation. We thought it would be desirable for this to be brought up by you and the group members, which has now obviously happened. In fact, we also think that it would be very good if all writings, including the small as well as all instructive articles, poems, verses and aphorisms, etc., would contain the German original text with each translation into a foreign language, whereby also with these materials the condition should be given that only from the German original writing a translation may take place. This must be so because no other language spoken and written on the earth can be equated with the German language value. All non-German languages are to be called poor and do not have the expression, possibilities, and subtleties, as these are possible and given in the German language.
You also mean English, no?
That is correct. Because English is a really poor language, in which everything has to be paraphrased, although the actual meaning of the word value, as it exists in the German language, cannot be expressed. For this reason, it is also very regrettable that the English language, especially through the economy and the computer system, is spreading more and more on the earth, while the German language is being denigrated, defiled, crippled, impaired, and belittled more and more by mad language improvers who understand nothing of the German language at all, not only with regard to the morbidly stupid word changes, but also with regard to the so-called Englishizing, as the mixing of the German with the English language is called.
Thank you for your explanation. Your opinion also corresponds to mine and many other German speakers. But something different. At the moment, the street parade in Zurich that took place yesterday is coming to an end. Also in Berlin, such a parade is always taking place. What do you think?
For my part, I am a very modern person in every respect, even if the antiquated can offer me a lot. I am also open for the youth, in whose circles I often stay and feel comfortable. So I also take part in their leisure activities and in anything else they create or undertake. And when I speak of our youth, I also mean children who are both of puberty and prepubescent age. Their occupations of all kinds are, however, meaningful, if sometimes also omitted. But what is offered and undertaken at these street parades in Zurich and Berlin is in the truest sense of the word simply frighteningly primitive and unworthy of a civilized person. It is indeed the primitive act and behavior. Those who participate in these activities obviously also do not have a valuable life content through which they are consciously able to evolve. And quite obviously also humans who should have recognized the true meaning and value of life, at least according to what they claim to know and understand in relation to the creational truth and the creational laws and recommendations, can be led to this primitive doing. Participation in such frighteningly primitive events, however, testifies to the opposite of what they purport to understand and know.
Wow, that is a speech. May it penetrate into the ears of those who are concerned. And there will be many of them.
That is right. But now, dear friend Edward, time is pressing me again because I also have to follow my obligations again. If you have no more questions, then I should go now.
I do not have any more questions. Then see you next time. Thank you very much again for the nice time with you this afternoon. Also, I thank you for the transfer of the 2 recordings, whereby I am curious how many you will still find.
According to my father Svath's notes, there are another 8 records that must be included in his very large estate. But now, my friend, goodbye. Oh yes, can I still take the work done with me?
Of course, a moment here. Do you not have anything new?
There it is. Florina brought it and put it there.
Oh, so, well then, thank you. Salome and goodbye. Greet Simyase again. It would be nice if I could see her again.
That will certainly be the case. And I am pleased to greet her. Salome.
Salome, my friend. Oh yes, before I forget. The group members are interested that the missing contact reports from 1984 to 1989, as well as Svath's notes and my old essays and articles stored by him, are still transmitted by you. That is it.
I will think about it and be concerned about it bit by bit.